Thank you for joining me for yet another unboxing video, and today we have some more RPG goodness. We have Starfinder 2nd Edition, Murder in Metal City, the deluxe adventure brought to you by the good people over at Paizo. For more information, go to paizo.com/Starfinder. Solve a murder mystery on the planet of machines. Greetings, friends. If you're watching this, it's because I've experienced an unexpected shutdown in organic terms. I'm dead. The strange message invites our intrepid adventurers to striving an expansive megaplex city on Alban, the planet of machines. There, they gather a neon-lit establishment surrounded by androids, robots, and aliens of all kinds to meet an old friend. The bartender brings them refreshments and a holographic recording from their mutual acquaintance who is now dead. The discovery of their friend's unexpected murder turns these strangers into a crew of unlikely investigators. They'll need to outrun murderous robots, outwit clever foes, and analyze perplexing clues, all while wondering if they're hunting the murderer or if the murderer is hunting them. Murder in Metal City is a deluxe adventure designed for use with the 6 pre-generated first-level characters contained within. It also includes a new playable ancestry and everything else the players and GM need to run the adventure, from tokens and battle maps to special handouts, item cards, many enemy statistics, and articles about the people, places, and faiths of Avalon. Welcome to Metal City, but beware, danger lurks in every alley. This was released it just came out this past week in August 2025. Brought to you again by the great people at Paizo. For more information, go to paizo.com/Starfinder. Retail value is $39.99. So, let's crack this bad boy open and see what kind of goodness we have inside the box. As you guys know, anybody who's been watching this channel for a while know that Starfinder is by far my favorite RPG that I play. And they switched over to the 2nd edition, so this will be my sticking my toe into the new world of Starfinder 2nd Edition. I've heard a lot of mixed reviews about this, so I figured I was going to pick it up. Well, I was going to pick it up either way, but I saw a bunch of mixed reviews about this product, so I wanted to see on my own what it's all about. So again, we're opening this up. Nice and tight box there. All right. So we got lots of stuff inside here. So let's take a look. Again, I don't want to ruin this for anybody. Got some tokens here. We got all kinds of stuff. All right, so we're going to start off with the book. So let's take a look at the book first, as we always do. So again, I'm not going to ruin the adventure for anyone, but you seem to have a book here, which is Murder in Metal City by Jenny Jarzbaski. All right, so there we go. We've got a awesome some artwork here and a map. It says Stirving, Pursuit, Sea of Glass, Theology Channel, Visitor Center. You've got the Unification Cathedral, Transparency, Analog, Central Circuit, and Charging Platform. So it looks like a map of Stirving. So then we got our table of contents and our introduction, the great people who brought you the game. We got our introduction. You got Cold Crisis, Seeking and Striving, Frozen Heart of Avalon. So it looks like you have 3 chapters that are in this adventure. It tells you about the components there a little bit. Chapter 1, Cold Case, Joining the Party, Misconnection, Interview with a Character, bunch of stuff. So if you've ever played Starfinder before, it seems like it's set up exactly like any of the other modules you would have picked up that you would have picked up from the adventure pass that you would pick up from Paizo in the first place. So again, it sets you up basically with the characters, gives you a background fluff information, and then introduces you to some of the characters, and then what they have, you're going to wind up fighting some people regardless of who they are, and then they give you the stat lines for them, again, using the 2nd edition stats. So again, it's going to be a little bit different than, again, it's more aligned to Pathfinder than it is 1st edition of Starfinder. So I haven't done that yet, so I can't really comment on how that's played yet. But we're going to have to find that out. So anyway, different characters that you're going to wind up having to fight, Stalkers in the Shadows is another section. Striving for Polytechnica. Seekers and Striving is another section we got here. Again, more maps, really nice. Pest Control, Magenta, Archive 404, Farmed, Dead End, question mark. And then we move on to Chapter 3, Frozen Heart of Avalon, Teardrop Icewell. Again, I'm just reading the highlights. Murderer's Hideout, The Gloaming, Baden Fields. It tells you a little bit of the information here. And then you have the NPC gallery, which are the non-player characters, different characters that you'll meet throughout the game. So it looks like the adventure is just like a regular, just like a usual module that they put out. It's about 35 pages in length. Then gives you background about the character's history. Then you go into, gives you background about Avalon itself, which is the fluff about the city. Striving is another city that they give you some background. So they give you the government, the culture, the artificial beginnings, life that when you're living there, the climate and weather, current events about what's happening, different hotspots that you can go and visit. And then you have Tech Faiths of Avalon. So different groups. You have the A-Wreckers, the Atheism, you have the Devourer, I can't read that. See, Lambatuan. All right, you got Mechanized. There it says Mechanized Adherence of Hypothesis, the Newborn, Siren Ray, Singular Itism, Triune, different things here. Then you have Anacite, different characters, Hard Light Dragonet, Mechanized Saboteur, different characters that you could meet while you're on Avalon. Agent Z, Kizar, and then of course it gives you all the good people who brought you the game, and of course they're hawking the player core book, and of course the new GM core, which will be coming out next month, or in September. That'll be coming out. And then all your GM references that you need to have are on the back pages, which is very, very cool. Most Adventure Pass, they don't have that. Usually there's another map on the back there. This time there's not a map. So again, this is the first module that's included, which it's for level 1 characters, I guess level 0/1 level characters for Murder in Metal City. So it's an introductory adventure for your character. So basically think about it, if you got the starter kits, normally the store kits start with an adventure module inside it. So this would be the starter kit for 2nd edition Starfinder. So far that looks pretty cool. I'm happy with that so far. Then we get some cards. So we have some different cards of different characters. So these are different characters that you're going to run into while on your adventure. The names. So the fronts have the names of the character. On the back, it gives you a picture of who they are and what their names are. Now, usually in a starter box. Now, I'm not 100% sure if this is what they're considering a starter box, because I'm assuming they will come out with another starter box, or I'm not sure what their plans are for the future. So usually they have a bunch of pawns, and they have maps, and they have all that stuff, fold-out maps and all that stuff in the original starter box, which was for Starfinder, which we did an unboxing of a while back. But so this time they seem to be changing it up a bit. I'll get this thing off there. So you got these cards right here. All right, you got these cards right here, again, for the characters that are in Murder City, which is cool. That's a little different than the first type starter box that they had. Then we also have this here. I don't need that. Which is going to be Murder Metal City. So you got Chemalizer, Silent Starfall Pistol, Infiltrator Serum, Smoke Grenades, Micro Goggles. So this seems like it's some items that you can find: breaching gun, consecrated keycaps, plasma sword, plasma cannon, med patch, hacking toolkit, reusable grenade shell. So again, on the back, it'll give you your stats for everything. They're all set up the same way. It tells you it's an item, chemilizer, the price if you want to buy one, it's 150 credits. Usage held in one hand. It's a bulk, it's a large item. This handheld sampling unit grants a +1 circumstance bonus to skill checks to identify an unknown drug, medicinal, poison, or any other chemical substance. So that's pretty cool. So again, it gives you all the stats in the back of all the different items that you could find. So that's cool. So you got item cards as well. Again, they're oversized cards, so that's pretty cool. That's not bad at all. Now again, I'm used to more having pawns, and this time they decided not to go with pawns. So this is a little bit more cost effective to put something like this out than create all kinds of pawns. So I've been hearing online that some people are happy about this, some people are not happy about it. We love the pawns here on the channel. You know that I've done a lot of unboxing for Starfinder pawns and Pathfinder pawns. So to come out with little punch outs instead, you know, to me, it feels like they're trying to cross between board game and an RPG, which I can understand because a lot of people buy board games and it's something quick you get down on, put on the table. Again, it's a starter, so you want to see whether you're interested, something you like. So if you're not going to make the full investment, there's no reason to have the pawns in there. So instead, you get your little pieces like this. And I can understand that. Again, they're high quality. Once again, everything here is high quality. But again, you know, for those who are who are fans of the first edition, I can understand why you'd prefer to have pawns. Like I would prefer to have pawns over this, but I could also understand why they're doing it this way also. So there you go. So let's see what we got in here. We got a bunch of different items on there. Again, the writing on it is very, very small. And that's a good thing about the pawns is that you don't really have to wear glasses as we're all aging. Obviously, things like this get a little bit harder to read because they're on such small. They are very, very small tokens. On the other hand, they are very high quality tokens. So I have no problem with the quality. But again, I'd rather have 2 sheets of pawns versus having all of these small tokens. I would rather have the pawns. But again, like I said to you, we'll see what happens going forward to see what they're going to do. So hopefully they're not going to switch to just doing these for everything. Like if you're going to do a book that talks about the alien, the different types of aliens, you're going to do a bestiary or bestiary for the new edition of Starfinder. I want pawns. I don't want little discs for the characters. I'm not switching midstream here all of a sudden. That's something I'm not going to do. But again, for this, I can understand because it's an introduction to the system. You don't need to go completely way out there. Then we also have a map, which I'm going to pull out here for you. Now, the map is not the usual quality map that you get from Starfinder. It's a nice map. It's a big map, but it's not the dry erase map that we're used to. So again, are they cutting corners? I'm not exactly sure. Not exactly sure why they're doing what they're doing. But again, we have to kind of sit back and just take it all in because this, again, is the first starter box for the new second edition. So again, this is not a wet, dry erase map like they have for the normal Paizo maps. All the starter boxes, whether it be for Pathfinder, Starfinder, previously for Edition 2, Edition 1 for Pathfinder, Edition 1 for Starfinder, there was the dry erase map. Again, here, nope, it's just a regular flat map that you would get with HeroClix or anything of that, Dungeons and Dragons, anything like that. So that could be a little disappointing as well. So I can understand some of the comments that are coming through on other channels and other people who are talking about this box, because again, we're used to a certain quality when we talk Paizo, we talk Starfinder, we're used to a certain level of quality. And if you're going to make a change midstream, again, I understand it's an introduction, it's a second edition, so listen, I'm all with it. But you can understand why some people there'll be some outcry of disheartenment or disappointment, because again, we're used to a certain level of quality when it comes to all of anything that Paizo puts out. Again, it's a beautiful map. That I'm not taking anything away from it. So if I wanted to, I can go down to any one of the Staples or whatever you might have in your area, you can go and just have this laminated, and then you got a dry erase map. I mean, it's that simple. But at the same time, like I said, never had to crack the map in that sense for a Paizo map before, because it's always been you crack it because you've got the wonderful wet dry erase on it. And as you guys know, go back on my channel, I've done literally hundreds of maps that they've released. So okay, so here we go. So we got two separate maps. We're going to start on this side. So it looks like one is an inside. So we're going to show you the complete map here. I'm going to try to get you here, try to show you the entire map. Again, we're going to start from the bottom and work our way around. Again, the cartography is beautiful. The colors are beautiful. It's a really, really well done map. But when you're used to, again, and this is not being overly critical, I'm just saying, when you are, as a consumer, when you are used to getting maps that are made and they have the dry erase maps versus it being this way, it does change the, I don't want to say changes the quality a bit, but it just changes, it makes you question and go, why are they going about it? And I don't want to use the term cheaper, but why are they going in a more cost-effective way with this? I did read online, of course, and we know that Pathfinder does not sell as well. Starfinder does not sell as well as Pathfinder does overall. Probably more people like to play fantasy versus science fiction, which is understandable as well. But at the same time, one of the reasons that I jumped into Starfinder full feet, picked up everything that they released, is the fact because I really like the quality of everything. I like the designs of everything. Again, is this a bad map? Not by any means of the word. It's a beautiful, beautiful map. As you can tell, as we're going through it right now, we're now at the top section. Of course, always top left, there's always the title of the company, which is, or the game, which is Starfinder, and it tells you right there which map it's from. Again, this is the flip map. Now, are they going to be switching all flip maps going forward to this type of material? I'm not sure, but if they do, there's going to be pushback. Again, there's going to be pushback because people are used to a certain level of quality when it comes to your product line. Again, this is the map. This is the double-sided map. That's the flip map that's available for Murder in Metal City, and that's why we're kind of reviewing it right now, just going through and unboxing and looking at it. So again, the map is beautiful. I'm not taking anything away from the map itself, but it's the fact that it's not a dry erase map as it normally is. That can be disheartening to some people who would go out and buy the map. But again, I'm just showing you what's in the map. Again, I pay my own money. Paizo does not endorse these videos. They do not give me any free stuff, nothing of that nature. And they haven't given me any free stuff at all. And I'm not looking for free stuff from anybody. But the reality is, again, when I see this, again, there's your center point right there. And that we're back to where we started from. But again, I hate to say it. When you're used to a certain level of quality, you expect that quality all the time. And this is a little bit different. It's a much thinner map. It's a beautiful map. It's a little thinner than what we're used to getting. And of course, it doesn't have the dry erase to it. So it's a city map, and then we have outside here, which appears to be a winter scene or a polar scene. So again, I'm not quite sure. Again, I have not played the module yet. So again, we're moving through here. Or I should say adventure path. I always say module, but it's adventure path is the term that they use at Paizo. Again, this is the map from Murder in Metal City. One is the city map, and this is something else. It looks like there's a crashed starship. That's what I'm assuming that is right there. Again, that's the bottom view. The flip side. We're on the eastern side of the map right now. Depending on which way it's eastern on the way that I'm showing you the map. It may not be, depending on the way the map's supposed to be set in the first place. So I'm going to the top of the map. Again, there's your center point right there. Again, with all the unboxings of different maps that I've gotten from Starfinder over the years, I always start at the bottom, and to me, the bottom is always the opposite end of where the title is. So that's where I always start from. But again, the way the map is laid out, according to the story as you're reading it, it may be a little bit different. So again, here we go. This is your side view looking in from the west coast. Again, there's your center point. Again, you can see a better picture of the ship not being upside down. There it is right there. Very, very beautiful. So again, we see the tokens. Normally, we have, again, normally you could put a figure out there, whatever. You know, unpainted figures. They're going to look great on the map. There's no question that it's a beautiful map. You get no questions about that. Just throwing a couple of guys out there. If you use a painted figure, there's a painted figure, how he would look on there. Okay. If I put a couple starships out there, which I could put like a traveling ship or whatever, I could put a couple guys out there just to give you an idea of what it would look like on that map. You know, in case they were circling over and whatever. That's a HeroClix map. Now, again, these are the 1-inch grid that's on here. So it is one, you know, in the old, again, it might have changed. The old Starfinder always was 1 inch equals 5 feet. So just giving you an example there. So again, now, one of the things I'm going to show you here, again, we have the new tokens. So I take the token. So if this guy here, I don't know what his name is up here. Let's see. Looks like Nitpick. Is that his name? Nitpick. Let's do Lunar 17. So if you take Lunar 17, you throw her down there. Well, that's what it looks like now. Versus the traditional. So again, just to show you, for example. So from previous edition Starfinder, you went from this, where it is now, to what it once was. So there's your one of your Starfinder characters, and then you have your Lunar 17, which is another character now. Again, we're used to this quality, not necessarily switching over to having game pieces, and we're not used to that. So again, this was $40 for this whole thing. So I'd be willing to pay $60 to have pawns, a couple sheets of pawns in there. I'd be willing to pay the little extra cash. But again, they're saying, hey, if another one, Cyberpunk Red, their introduction box was like $29. You know, it was like $30. So they're trying to be caught more. They're trying to get more in line with that. But they're figuring that the production they have to go to something a little bit less. Again, the cardboard, just as thick, just as good. But again, I'd rather see this guy on the map than see that thing on the map. But again, does it bother me? You know, it is what it is. I understand exactly what it is. And again, they do the same thing with Pathfinder, which they release pawns as well. So you guys see, you just see that there's a again, if you're used to being a person who plays Starfinder and you just picked up this box and you see this is what you get instead of something like this, you can understand why some people would be disheartened or why some people would be arguing about it. But again, I love, you know, it's not gonna bother me. I want to get into the adventure. I want to learn the rules, and that's really what this box set's all about, is learning the rules. Again, none of these figures that I'm showing here, none of the starships, none of the unpainted figures, the painted figures are included in this. They are just for demonstration purposes only. The showing of the previous pawns from Pathfinder and from Starfinder First Edition are also not included with the purchase of this. They're used for demonstration purposes only. So let me continue on with the map. So again, there's one of your tokens for the new one. Put that back in here like that. But you understand why I'm bringing out the points that I'm bringing out, is the fact that you can understand why online I'm hearing the disappointment in this current box set, because people wanted pawns versus it being the game pieces instead. So again, we're back to the bottom. There's your center point again from the lower part of the map. And there you have it. So again, it is a beautiful map. I'm not taking anything away from it whatsoever. But again, when you're used to getting a dry erase map, that's something that, you know, it's something you have to take in consideration, because you are paying, you know, again, I paid $40 plus tax for this. So again, would I rather had a dry erase map? Yes. Would I rather had pawns? Yes. But at the same time, I'm still happy with what I'm getting here. All right. So far we have our Starfinder, we have our rule book, we got our pawns, we have our map, we have 2 sets of cards, oversized cards. One is the character sheets for your non-player characters and some of your villains, and for here you also have items that you'll be finding throughout your adventure. that may aid your adventure. You are also given what appears to be some handouts. Now again, these are little leaves of paper. Again, they are not, again, they're nicely printed, front and back. Again, I don't want to show too much of this because I do not want to give away any of the, because it is a murder mystery, so I do not want to give anything away. But again, you have handout 1, handout 2, handout 3, handout 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. So you have 20 handouts. So let's, again, all of them are set up the same way. Again, all the fronts are the same. Here's number 1, the invitation to analog. So I'm going to read this one because everybody's going to read the first one. I'm not going to go past that. It says here, encrypted message log. Friend, I recognize that it has been some time since our last communication. Hope this transmission finds you well and finds you at all. We live in exciting times, and I believe there is a chance for a 14.6% or more that this communication is intercepted before you receive it, which is exactly why I have asked you to meet me. There is much to tell you I can't share over a comm unit, even with encryption. Meet me in Downgrid Stirving. I have a reservation at Analog Cafe, and my tab should still be open when you arrive. Meet there in 2 days exactly. Expect company, as I have invited others. You can recognize one another by this passphrase, incredulous static. Your friend, Tier 99 Professor, Polytechnica. There's your handout number 1. So that's your invitation to the murder mystery party, basically. So there you go. So you got 20 of these handouts, Murder in Metal City, and you have your map right there. So we'll put that on top of there. And you also have your, so you have a sheet here. It says player character profiles, player name, character name, ancestry, background, class, languages, and notes about those characters. So this might be some notes that you need to take during your investigation, which is very, very cool. I like that. And you flip that over. Important NPCs. These are, again, the characters that you're going to be meeting throughout the adventure that are going to try to help you or hurt you on your adventure. You got your treasure tracker, things that you could find. Evidence tracker, your notes, your experience point tracker is here as well, which you can put right in here. I tend to do this in the notepad on the side, so I probably will not use this. Another thing about this paper here, it is kind of thin. It's a thin piece of paper. It's not, I'm not saying it's not quality, but I'm saying it's a little thin than we're used to. Everything in here seems to be a little bit thinner. Even the cards themselves, they're not cardboard, they're not thick, they're not anything. So I mean, they're nice, but again, some people have been concerned about the quality of the product. Again, I could see where the concerns lie. Again, I'm going to play the game just the way it is, but at the same time, I can understand why some people are disheartened by it. Again, so you got your characters that you're going to use in your first introduction. So these characters are the ones you should use. You shouldn't be creating your own and then jumping into the adventure. You could do that, of course. Once it's your game, it's your game. You can do what you want. But I'm assuming that these characters are all set up so that you could try out all the different classes, all the different things that you could do. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use these characters here for this adventure and then move on from there. So let's take a look at some of the characters that you're going to have here. Again, you have your background fluff information here. Tells you their style and their skills. You got combat, exploration mode, you got healing. Then you have, let's take a look at here. You have your creature. Her name is Lunar 17. She's unique, medium size, and android and humanoid. Female android mystic 1. Again, player core, page 114 will tell you what that means. You got your heritage, background, and perception. And one thing I love about Paizo that they do, especially in Starfinder, they always give you page numbers for references. So I always like that they do that. They give you perception, language, or skills, this, that, and the other thing. Down here tells you all that stuff. The items she currently has. The armor class, the fortitude, reference, the will. The armor class is something that's definitely different than what it is in the first edition. They gave you two. They gave one for kinetic and one for energy weapons, depending on the type of weapon that you're using against them, and you would have to roll versus those two things. Now they're just giving you one number, which is the same as what everybody else does in Pathfinder, Pathfinder. They do it, and they also do it in Dungeons and Dragons and stuff like that. People are more used to just having one number versus two numbers. You have your hit points. Your speed is 25 feet. Normally, the characters in the previous edition, everybody was 30 feet. It seems like they cut it down by 5 feet. Maybe the pawns have a little bigger spread than the game pieces do. Maybe that's why they did it. And then, of course, they give you what they do for weaponry, different spells that they might have, and this, that, the other thing. And then you flip it over. It gives you a copy of the actual game character sheet. So again, the paper, it's not the highest of quality paper. It's kind of thin. It does feel like it has a little bit of a sheen on it. So the reality is you might be able to write on this, but again, I'm not going to try it because I'm not going to try to ruin any of this stuff like that. What I might do is just take these, make a copy of both sides, and then if I need to take notes, and I'll take notes, or just bring a notebook with me like I normally do and keep my notes there. So let's just take a look at one of these new character sheets. Okay, you got your name, you got your heritage, you got your strength, dexterity, all your bonuses up here, background notes, detective, the player's name, the character's name, levels, hero points, experience points, mystic. You got your class note, you have your defense, so your armor class is 17, you got a shield. So it, to me, again, has a very Dungeons and Dragons-y feel. Of course, it has a Pathfinder feel, but that's where it seems like it's going more in that direction. You got your fortitude, reflex, and will saves. You got your hit points, your current hit points, temporary hit points, dying, wounded, all that stuff there. Keeps track of that. Then your set of skills. You can do acrobatics. You got arcana, athletics, computer, crafting, deception, diplomacy, intimidation, lore, medicine, nature, occultism, performance, piloting, religion, society, stealth, survival, thievery. So again, if you're trying to avoid an asteroid as you're flying in a ship, you roll a d20 and you would get +6 to whatever you rolled. So that's what that is there. Your class DC is 17. Your proficiencies, again, your weapons, your ranged weapons, you have an arc pistol and you have a semi-auto pistol. And you have a 0 knife here, which is for your melee. All right, so then you got your magical track as well, and all your stuff that keeps on all your spells and stuff like that. So, all right, so you got, again, you have a bunch of characters that you're gonna use. So one of them is Lunar 17. Then you got a picture. I'll show you a picture of Luna 17. There she is. Then you also have this character right here, which is Yoski. You've got Nitpick Bennett, Yoski Witch Warper. So she is again, we'll read that over again real quick. She is an android mystic. You've got your Nitpick again, Yoski Witch Warper, which is a new type of character. So again, they're just introducing all the new way to play the game. So I mean, I can understand why it's done the way it is. Old Growth Wildfire, a Kizbar Soldier. That's what he looks like. That's pretty cool. I like that. That's different than what we normally have. That's cool. And then it gives you a little bit of hint of how to play, what his strengths and weaknesses are right there. So I do like the fact that they give you helpful hints. Again, they're introducing the new edition, so I can understand why they're giving you a bunch of pre-made characters that are all rigged up so that they're like the previous, like they have been talking about. So Vorza Moonshot, which is a Vesk Solarian. There's your Vesk. Then you have Tapkey, who is a Skittermander Envoy. And then Jadena, Kazatha Operative, it says. Kazatha Operative. Yeah, female Kazatha Operative. And that's what they look like. Okay, so you got a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 characters. So you get 6 characters. You get all these handouts. I think it's 20 handouts. You get the map, double-sided map. You get the item cards, you get the NPC cards, you get the token sheet, again, not pawns, but tokens, and you get your rule book for, explains everything in there. Now, another problem people are saying is that you have this huge piece of cardboard in the back of this thing, inside the box, and there's nothing under it. So people are saying that you have a lot of basically air in the box, basically not a lot of stuff in the box. So people are complaining about that as well, that they have this piece in there and there's so much room in the box where you could put some more pawns in there, but you didn't put the pawns in there. So that's a complaint that some people are saying also online. Again, I'm going to take it for what it is. This is, again, it's a starter box. Again, they don't want people to make a huge investment of money. They don't want people paying 60, 70, example. So I got the new core book, the new player core book. I picked it up. It's $70. So it's a huge investment. $70 is a lot of money. So the reality is, if you're going to pick up that book and you're going to pick this up there, you're basically making a huge investment already. You're making $110 into a new game system. So again, why not pick up this box set here? It just gives you the idea of all the mechanics. You go through it, whether you like it, then you pick up the player core. If you feel like you want to invest into the Starfinder series and start playing that role-playing game. Me, as a fan of Starfinder, I was going to pick up both regardless. So the reality is, when I pick this up, I understand exactly where their mindset is. I understand what they're doing, what their plan is. But again, I could also understand why people like myself, who really love the first edition, we're used to a certain level of quality, especially when it comes to your papers, the maps, the standees instead of the punch outs. These are all things, or the pawns, I call them standees, but your pawns. There's a reason why there's been an outcry about this box set. I can understand that. But again, I picked up my copy. I'm happy, and I can't wait to get into it. Anyway, this is everything that's included. And this concludes your unboxing of Starfinder 2nd Edition. We're talking Murder in Metal City, the Deluxe Adventure, brought to you by our good friends over at Paizo. Again, for more information, go to paizo.com/Starfinder to find out all information you would need to know about the Starfinder universe and, of course, about Pathfinder as well. As always, thank you so much for joining us for this unboxing video. It's truly appreciated. If you enjoyed the video, you could always give it a thumbs up and leave a comment below. You could also hit that subscribe button. This way you're kept up to date as to all the new things that are happening, and we will let you know when any new videos have been released to the channel. As always, thank you so much for joining us. Be safe, be well, enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll catch you on the next unboxing video.